we're building out our customer segments and defining some personas that define who our target and priority customers are. One of the really critical aspects of filling out your customer segment profile is to think about the influencers that influence those folks. So let me just run through a quick concept. A lot of marketing organizations have a real pressure. They have a very small budget, which we've talked about, and you have a very large number of people that you're trying to get the word out to. And where a lot of marketing gets wasted is there's pressure to feel like you, as the marketing vice president or the organization, has to really impact and reach out to your entire potential market. So there could be thousands of people or even millions in terms of who you're trying to reach with a very small amount of money. Well, we know from all the noise that we've talked about in the market that at this day and age, unless you have a huge marketing budget, that's very unlikely that you're going to cut through the clutter very effectively. And so one of the critical concepts is to think about not reaching the entire market, but instead think about who are the influencers, who are the trendsetters and the influencers that help the market in general understand what to buy. So really, you're talking about reaching out to a handful of people, or at least a small percentage of people overall, who then take the message out in a very credible word-of-mouth way to the larger audience. This is the essence of conversational and influential marketing. And so now you as a marketer have a little bit easier job. You can start prioritizing who the critical people are that you need to influence so that they go on and influence for you. So this could be a much smaller, much more targeted project. This is why you're seeing a lot of trends towards reaching out to bloggers. We've talked about the mom down the street who used to be the expert just in a neighborhood, or the dad. They're now blogging. They're now out there on the internet, and they're sort of global influencers, or at least much bigger influencers than they were if they were limited to just their neighborhood. So when you think about your customer segments, you got to list out exactly who these people listen to, and then target and tailor your marketing plan around how to influence the influencers. Now there's a really great book called The Influentials that has some great concepts on how to target these people. The influentials tend to be, no surprise here, they oftentimes are activists. So these are people that for whatever reason have a real deep passion, and a lot of times the reason they're blogging is because they're trying to set the record straight, or they're trying to change policy in a certain area. So they tend to be very activist oriented. The other way you can check them out and sort of evaluate them is they tend to be very connected. In other words, they know a lot of people, and they know a lot of the right people. And so on the blog world, that just means that they might have a lot of traffic on their blog site, or it might be ranked as a very influential blog. A couple other things, impact. It's one thing to put out a lot of information or have a lot of readers, but does your voice, does the influential's voice have a lot of credibility? Do people really listen to what this person is recommending? And then a couple other things, they certainly tend to be on the cutting edge of things. So they're a little bit more savvy on what the trends are, and oftentimes they really get excited about sort of shifting trends and shifting tastes. And that's something from an emotional perspective you can really tap into with bloggers or with other influentials. They have a need to be ahead of the crowd. So when you're reaching out to them first, you're sort of filling an emotional need that they can feel better about your brand or about your product because you've made them important. So those are some things to think about when you're mapping out your customer personas and your profiles. And I'd love for you to take a little bit of time, use the tool that we've posted beside this video, and fill out the form to think about who some of the influentials are for your market.